Hello, it is Dr. Chris Raquel. I am back with a second video for today. I hope you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Also, please send me an email, askcrystalraquel@gmail.com if you have any questions you'd like to ask me. I'd be happy to do a video for you today. I just did a video and the video reminded me of this topic. I recently had a conversation with my husband where he was talking about how he married me for love, of course. And then I responded, I said, well, I didn't marry you for love. And he said, oh, I know. Okay, let me rephrase it. I basically said, I didn't marry you only for love. And his response was like, good, you shouldn't have. So my thing that I want to talk to you all about today, specifically ladies, is about why you're marrying someone and what it really means when you're marrying a husband. So, ladies, there are some ladies who really believe that you should only marry a man for love. I'm here to tell you that is not the case. We have to use wisdom in our lives. We cannot go about our lives just flying by our emotions. And one thing that I spoke about before, I'll try to put the video in the description below. I had spoken before about how I was dating for marriage, and one of the things I was looking for, one of the things that I made sure I was doing was not put my emotions in it early on. I was basically on a dating process, like I was doing interviews in a way. I showed up looking good, and I made sure that I wasn't prematurely putting my emotions into the situation with anyone that I was coming across, anyone that could potentially be an option for marriage or for something long-term, meaning marriage. So I say all this to say, if you're going to be married, it's very important that you do not just focus on your emotions, how you feel, and love. A lot of what people consider love nowadays isn't really even love, because love isn't just an emotion. Love is an action. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not selfish. And in a marriage, there may even be times where you don't feel so like lovey-dovey. So it's very important to recognize that marriage is not just for love. Marriage is not just for your feelings and how you feel about someone. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. So let's say you come across someone who treats you so kind, so nice, and you've had a couple phone conversations with him, or you've seen him in passing, you knew him from a while back, and what you find is that he has asked you to go out on coffee dates, walks in the park, and you all are about between the ages of 25 and 30, early 30s, and he's asking you to go on walks or coffee. And let's say you haven't accepted any of those things, but those are what he's offering you, and you like him, you see him in some sort of social group that you have, and he's always been really nice to you, been really friendly towards you. He seems to really listen to you in those few conversations that you've had over the phone, and you start falling for him just because of you had a couple phone conversations. And you're like, all right, well, let me move forward. It's all right. I have no problem with it, even if in the past you were used to going on more traditional dates with lunch, dinner, those sorts of things. But now you make an exception. You're like, you know what? Let me just go on these coffee dates. Let me just go on a walk or a hike. And I would say, ladies, never go on a hike with a stranger. I just wanted to throw that in there. And let's say you guys are going to go on a date. You're going to go on this coffee date, and you've kind of like lowered your standards. And then you continue to date him. Those are all the things that you do. And then instead of asking you for coffee and those sorts of things, he now decides, you know what? Hey, like, I want to cook for you. Come to my house. I'm going to make some ramen and stop by. We can have a conversation. You go over there. And then one day he says, hey, well, I cooked for you. Like, what? I know you had mentioned you like to cook and stuff. So let me hop over to your place, cook something. And they say, you know what? He's still treating me so well. He's so kind to me. He's so nice. Let me cook for him. There's no dates going on whatsoever. Now it's kind of become a 50-50 thing, an equal exchange. You're still having conversations with him, and he's still, you know, treating you well, talking to you nicely. And then life goes on. You all have began to date. You know, maybe he asked you to officially be his girlfriend. I've spoken before about that. And then you accept, or maybe it just naturally goes into the process of being an exclusive thing. So now you're with him, you know, you all just see each other, you guys come over, he comes over to your place, you go over to his place, you all, you know, occasionally you go out to free events, things like that. And then let's say he ends up proposing to you. He proposes to you with a cubic zirconia ring, sterling silver, and you look at it, it looks nice. You can tell that it's not like a great quality. It's not gold, and it's not a real diamond, or it's not even some other gemstone. You look at it, you're like, oh wow, it's really pretty, and you accept. You say, you know, he's so nice, he's treated me well, he's treated me better than maybe any other guy I've been with. I know I haven't mentioned his career. Let's just say he has a high school diploma, and he only works a job for a year or less, maybe 6 months. He's always changing jobs. He's not steady. He works at different jobs that, you know, don't require a high school degree. And he's just bouncing around all the time, you know. And so, you know, you accept the proposal. Now you're moving forward with him for marriage. You guys have some conversations, and he says, you know, I don't have it, so we're gonna have to go to the courthouse. You've always wanted to have your own wedding, and unfortunately, if you don't pay for it, you will not be able to have a wedding. So what you do is you decide, you know what, I can try to save, and maybe we can do something nice, or just go to the courthouse, like City Hall, like he's asking, and you decide, okay, well, you weigh those two options. You have a family member that really wants to see you get married, so you decide, you know what, I'll just save and I will give us a little something. You decide to have a very small wedding. It's in a park somewhere. You just have to pay a small payment to use that location as your ceremony spot. Then after that, you go to a pretty nice restaurant where you're footing the bill, and you all move forward from there. And then you all decide to move in with one another. You move forward, and he, you know, in terms of the bills, you all are going to have to do a 50-50. That is the decision that you all came up with. He's not really doing well, and you have to support. And it actually works out to where you're not really doing 50-50. He's doing what he can. He's being nice to you still. He's doing all he can in terms of his income, although he's not doing all he can in terms of his career. So now you're paying maybe like 60% of the bills is what you're putting out. He's putting out 40, 35. And then now you all moved in with one another, and he's still treating you nicely. And then now you see he comes home one day and he says, you know, I just left my job. I was just so frustrated. That boss wasn't treating me well. I have to just, you know, I had to just stop. So now he's decided to leave this job without another job. And you kind of saw those things, but for whatever reason, while you were dating for this 1 or 2 years, he somehow magically managed not to have a gap in his employee, so he stayed at the job that he had. But then shortly after you all married, now he doesn't have a job. He decided not to work, and now you're stuck paying 100% of the bills. He's still being nice to you, but now you're thinking to yourself, is this all that I could get? Is this really the best person for me? Did I make a mistake? And that is what I'm trying to let you know. Marriage is not just about love. There's so many different factors that are going to come into play. So now there's the lady, she's supporting. Let's say she gets pregnant, and now she's paying all the bills. She's stressed. Now he's a stay-at-home dad. They figure you're not working, you haven't found a job, so let's just have you stay. I'm the one who has this job. I've been working hard and this is my career, so why don't you just stay at home? It'll be fine. Now the young lady, she's stressed. She looks around her. She sees other people where they're not in such a 50-50 situation, or they're not in a situation where they're paying all the bills and their husband stays home. So now she's thinking to herself, wait a minute. Why did I end up in this situation? No matter how nice the man was. My point is, there is going to be a point in time. There are some men, I'm not saying in this case, I'm not specifying whether or not that was his goal to do, that he was looking for a woman to live off of, but there's many scenarios where ladies are letting men move in with them out of love. They fall in love, or perhaps the man ends up convincing them to get into bed with them, and now the lady is so in love with him, so confused, and wants to move forward strictly off love. Ladies, remember, a lot of men, they aren't interested so much in having a relationship with you. Think of it this way. As a lady, you're a lot of times in high demand, you're beautiful, and as a lady, we don't really think so much about things like, I really want to find someone to go sleep with. That's not the way we think, typically. A lot of men do think that way, and a lot of men believe that it's hard for them to gain access to a woman to sleep with. So if you're doing well for yourself, you're working hard, you're trying to progress in your career, and you come across someone who wants to date you, they are being really nice to you, kind, genuine, and they're trying to get to know you, and you open yourself up in that way and you sleep with that person, you don't even know if they're really interested in you for a relationship. Sometimes there are men who just really are looking to sleep with a woman. They are interested in that. Maybe they'll stick around, you let them move in. They may come up with some random excuse about how they lost their job, and you're so in love with them that you let them move in. So I say all that to say, ladies, please keep your guard up, keep your walls up, get to know people in terms of their character. Do not just fall for someone and be magically in love with them and then end up getting a relationship strictly off love. Think of your standards. And in that situation I mentioned, that lady, she may end up in a situation where now she's all stressed. Now they have multiple children. She's the only one that's working. And yes, sometimes in life there are times where it's going to be hard, potentially, that there's things that happen in life that are outside of people's control. Somebody could get laid off, or a man could get laid off potentially. But you need to be mindful of what you're going into when you're going to start a relationship. You should really think to yourself, is this the man that I would be proud of being the father of my children? Would I be okay if I have sons, if my son turns out like this man? Would I be okay with my daughters end up marrying someone like this? And if the answer is no, you should not proceed. If you don't know yet, because you don't know him well, you should not proceed. So yeah, just really be careful. A lot of ladies are getting tricked and ending up with men who are really just trying to use them, whether it's to sleep with them or oftentimes it's for a place to stay. So really just be mindful of that. Remember that relationships are not just for love, especially for women. You want to make sure that man can provide, and that he's going to be kind to you, of course, but you have to be thinking about your future. What is your future household going to look like? And there's many options in this world. You have the choice. So it's not just you go to the first man that treats you well. You have to really sit and weigh pros and cons, what's going to be of benefit to you and your future children. And I'm not saying do not marry. I'm not saying that love shouldn't factor in. Of course, you should definitely love your partner. I love my husband. However, I mentioned to some of you before, as you've seen my videos, that I was dating a few people. And when I was eliminating people, I did not eliminate people based on love, because how can I love somebody that I didn't know? I had to eliminate people based on things that I didn't like about them, based on things I didn't think was going to work in the future. And then once I was dating my husband, I continued to get to know him, and of course eventually we loved each other. But you can't just go into relationships thinking, or getting to know people thinking, oh, okay, I love this person, and you don't even know them. You know, you have to first think of things that make sense. Think of, think rationally first, and then go from there. Like, rationally is, okay, I'm attracted to this person. Okay, this person seems to be treating me well. Okay, this person seems to be, be of good character and things like that. This person would fit well within my family. And then you go from there, you get to know each other, you guys laugh together, and love develops, things like that. But hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it made sense. Please add a comment if you have any commentary regarding what I'm talking about. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.